Screw me over. I'll get you back, even 20 years later. When I was 20, I let this guy Trevor move into my spare room. He'd gotten a DUI and needed somewhere cheap close to downtown. Seemed harmless enough at first. Guy was always complaining about something though. The TV was too loud. The milk was expired. Everything was someone else's fault. Within a week, I realized Trevor was one of those people who argues just to argue. Like I'd say the sky is blue and he'd find a way to disagree. But the worst part? Dude was straight up racist and sexist. He'd make these gross comments about women walking by our window. Said immigrants were ruining everything. I'm talking full-blown ignorant rants while eating my cereal. I was working construction back then, barely scraping by. Then I blew out my knee on a job site. Workers' comp took forever to kick in. I was limping around, eating ramen every night, but I managed to cover rent somehow. 2 months later, Trevor breaks his hand in some bar fight. Instead of figuring it out like an adult, he just stops paying rent, completely. When I asked about it, he shrugged and said he couldn't work with a busted hand, so he wasn't paying anything. 3 weeks after that, he packed his stuff and left. No notice, no forwarding address, just gone. Left me with a sink full of dirty dishes and unpaid utilities. I couldn't make the full rent alone. Got evicted 2 weeks later. Had to move back in with my parents at 20 years old, carrying garbage bags of my stuff up their driveway. Most embarrassing moment of my life. When I ran into Trevor a few months later, I brought up the money he owed me, maybe $400. He laughed in my face and said, "Not my problem, man. I wasn't on the lease," like he was proud of screwing me over. Fast forward 19 years, I'm a foreman at this mid-size electrical company. Good job, decent money, finally got my life together. Then one Monday morning, guess who walks into our break room wearing a new company shirt? Trevor. Same smug face, just older and balder. He'd been hired as a regular electrician, hadn't moved up much in life apparently. He recognized me right away. "Hey, it's my old roommate," he said, like we were best friends, like he hadn't completely screwed me over. I stayed professional, shook his hand, welcomed him to the team, but inside, I was already planning. See, Trevor hadn't changed one bit. Still the same argumentative, racist piece of work. Still loved getting into political debates with anyone who'd listen. Perfect. I started small. During lunch breaks, I'd make casual comments. Things like, I think immigration actually helps our economy, or those liberal policies aren't so bad, just loud enough for Trevor to hear. Every single time, he took the bait. Would go off on these inappropriate rants about how immigrants were destroying America, how women didn't belong in construction, how liberals were idiots, all while we're at work, in front of other employees. I'd just nod and say, "Interesting perspective, Trevor," while other guys looked uncomfortable. Each outburst got him written up. 3 warnings in 2 months. Then came the perfect moment. We're in the main office, picking up work orders. Our company owner's daughter had just started working part-time in accounting. Sweet college kid, super smart. Trevor sees her and makes some disgusting comment about daddy's little princess, and how she probably only got the job because of her looks. Really gross stuff. I looked at him and said, Trevor, I actually think it's pretty cool that young women are getting into business. Gender equality is important." Trevor lost it. Started screaming about feminists and how women were taking jobs from real men. Called the owner's daughter some names I won't repeat. All while she's standing right there. I walked straight to HR. Trevor just verbally harassed the owner's daughter with sexual comments. In front of multiple witnesses. They pulled the security footage. Saw everything. I got called into the office 20 minutes later. As his direct supervisor, they asked if I recommended termination. "Absolutely," I said. "This kind of behavior is unacceptable and creates a hostile work environment." They fired him that afternoon. Walked him out in front of everyone.